She always said I was her everything. For 15 years, Ella's words were the soundtrack to my life, the bedrock of our marriage. We had it all, or so I thought. It's a beautiful house, 2 amazing kids, a life we built together from the ground up. Ella was my high school sweetheart, my first and only love, the woman I trusted with my entire world. She'd look at me with those deep brown eyes and say, "Logan, you're my everything," and I believed her. Every single time, little did I know, her everything had a lot more space than I ever imagined. It started subtly, like a slow leak you don't notice until the floor is soaked. She started working late more often. Big project at the firm, she'd say, looking tired but accomplished. I was proud of her. She was a brilliant architect, and I never doubted her ambition. Then came the business trips. A weekend here, a few days there, she'd call. Her voice filled with a convincing mix of professional excitement and longing for home. I'd be holding down the fort with the kids, feeling like the supportive husband I always aimed to be. The texts became less frequent, the late-night calls shorter. When I'd ask, she'd sigh and say, "Work is just draining me, honey. Sorry, I bought it. I wanted to buy it. How could I not?" This was Ella. The first real crack in my perfect world appeared on a Tuesday. I was cleaning out the car and found a receipt tucked into the side pocket of the passenger door. It was from a fancy restaurant downtown, a place we'd only been to for our anniversary. The date was from last Thursday, a night she supposedly worked late and ate a sad desk salad. The receipt was for 2. Not 2 expensive entrees, a bottle of wine. I felt a cold knot form in my stomach. It was probably a business dinner, I told myself. Just forgot to mention it. But the knot wouldn't go away. It stayed there, a heavy, cold reminder that something felt wrong. The defensiveness in her voice was like a slap. Later that night, after she fell asleep, I did something I never thought I'd do. My heart pounded in my chest as I opened it. Her email was logged in. I told myself to stop, to just close it and go to bed. But I couldn't. I had to know. I searched for the name of the restaurant from the receipt. An email chain popped up. The sender's name was Alex. The subject line, "Last Thursday." My blood ran cold. The emails were flirty, filled with inside jokes and plans. They talked about their escape and how much they enjoyed their dinner. They were planning another one. The emails went back for months. Trips that lined up perfectly with her business travel. Late nights that were never about work. Each word was a dagger, methodically dismantling the life I thought I had. He was a contractor her firm worked with. They'd been seeing each other for almost a year. A year. She'd been lying to my face every single day for a year. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I stumbled out of the room, went to the kitchen, and just stood there in the dark, the cold tile floor doing nothing to numb the fire in my gut. The woman sleeping peacefully in our bed, the mother of my children, was a stranger. Her "I love yous," her "you're my everythings." They were all lies. Every shared memory was now tainted, every future plan shattered. I spent the rest of the night on the couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every lie, every excuse, every moment of suspicion I had brushed aside. The trust wasn't just broken, it was annihilated. The next morning, I confronted her. I was surprisingly calm. I laid the receipt on the kitchen counter next to her coffee. I watched her face as she saw it. The color drained from her cheeks. "Logan," she started, her voice a weak whisper. "Don't," I said, my voice dangerously quiet. "I know, Ella. I know about Alex." I read the emails. The dam broke. The tears came, the excuses, the justifications. It just happened. I was confused. I never meant to hurt you. But the most painful thing she said was, "It didn't mean anything, Logan. You're still my everything." That was the moment I knew it was over. How could I be her everything when she had given a piece of herself, a piece of us, to someone else? Her words, once a source of comfort, were now just empty, meaningless noise. The days that followed were a blur of pain and logistics. Telling the kids was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Seeing the confusion and hurt in their eyes broke me in a way her betrayal couldn't. We decided to separate. She moved out, and the house suddenly felt cavernously empty. Friends and family rallied around me, but there's a unique loneliness that comes with this kind of heartbreak. At night, the silence was the loudest thing in the house. I'd lie awake, wondering where I went wrong, what I missed. Was I not enough? The self-doubt was a relentless beast. Healing isn't a straight line. It's a messy, jagged path. There were days I could barely get out of bed, consumed by anger and grief. There were other days I felt a flicker of something new, freedom. I started focusing on myself and the kids. We went on hikes, cooked new recipes, and had long talks. I started therapy, which was a game changer. It gave me a space to unpack the trauma without judgment, to understand that her choices were not a reflection of my worth. It helped me see that holding on to anger was like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Slowly, I started to rebuild. I reconnected with old friends I'd lost touch with. I picked up my guitar again, something I hadn't done in years. I started to find joy in small things. A sunny morning, a good cup of coffee, my kids' laughter. I was rediscovering the person I was outside of being Ella's husband. It was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. I learned to be my own everything. I learned that my happiness couldn't be dependent on someone else's validation. It's been 2 years now. Ella and I have a functional co-parenting relationship for the sake of the kids. Sometimes I still feel a pang of sadness for the life I thought I'd have, but it's no longer an open wound. It's a scar, a reminder of a battle I fought and survived. I learned that sometimes the end of a chapter is not the end of the story.